Hey, what's up, everybody? It has been a long time since I have made a video, but I just wanted to let you all know that I did not forget you. Definitely check out my blog, iamdama.com. It's pretty cracking. I like blogging. It's pretty fun. Um, anyway, decided to devote a little bit of time talking about what I call the mismanagement of legends. And the reason why I want to talk about this is that I've noticed somewhat of a trend um, in that it is becoming increasingly more difficult for those individuals who have had thriving careers in the past to return to the industry. We're talking about the R&B industry. Let's be more specific here. Um, it's a lot more difficult these days because definitely the game has changed, and we can attribute a lot of those changes to the fact um, that there is much more of an emphasis now on showmanship and uh, dancing and is your song something that somebody will listen to in the club, um, and because of all those things we have a generation that um, had a different just a different thought or mentality on this kind of things. And I would like to, I guess I focus on someone like Whitney Houston. Those of you who grew up in the 80s, like, you're well aware of how wonderful her career was, and she has songs like "I Want to Know If He Really Loves Me" and those kinds of songs, like "Someone for Me." Some of those old songs that there was no choreographed dancing or um, no real I don't even know what you want to call it, no real choreography at all, but because that the music had meaning and people could associate meaning, or they could associate something that was going on in their life with the song, like, it made that artist popular. It had less to do about what they had on, or and then there was less of an emphasis on trying to be this multi-dimensional star. It was sort of like, music is my thing, and so I'm going to sing. I could act, that's a possibility, but I want to focus on music. And so you have those individuals who come in with this mentality, who want to enter back in the game, and the reception is so questionable because these individuals are managed so bad. What I mean by that is that um, there's this thing that, like, if we're going to bring back such and such back into the industry at this time, we've got to make him young, we've got to make him hip, and we've got to make sure that they attract to this certain audience. And so we've got to get them this sort of like Beyonce-esque sort of look, like, we've got to try to create this image that would speak to this wide variety of people. And the result of that is that artists sort of disassociate themselves from their real fan base, because instead of coming out with material that would speak to the fan base that they once had, they've got to come out with this new hip stuff that sort of speaks to the 30-something, late 20-something individual, but also speaks to someone who might be like 18 or 19 and in love or something like that. And so there's this huge discrepancy in how these legends are managed. And if you watch it, I think that Whitney Houston is a good example. And I think you can watch carefully about how when this album comes out on September 1st, like, the steps that the management team is taking to make sure that this album sells as great as it will. But, like, we can only hope that Whitney does not need auto-tune. Whitney does not need to collaborate with some famous new. I mean, you know how it is. Like, like these new artists. Like, there's this thing where, like, well, in order for them to be deemed as relevant, they got to team up with T-Pain, or they got to team up with someone else. Like, my hope is that when you bring these people back, quality music is a lot more important than just being able to come out with something that maybe like a different age bracket would be interested in. And so my hope is that, and then not just Whitney Houston, there are a lot of different. I mean, I think Brandy is a great example, because Brandy, she was the full package when she came out. And when I said the full package, it was less of what we see with Beyonce, and not to discredit Beyonce in any way, but when Brandy came out, like, she was the child star. She had a wholesome image. She made music that talked about love. It wasn't nasty. It didn't. There was no, now dancing. Like, it was something that you could listen to at the family reunion, and you could listen to it at the club, and you could listen to it if you were a guy, and you could listen to it if you were a woman. So there was that genre of music, the people like Aaliyah and people like TLC, that, like, people were so happy about. And now you have churches that are teaching against R&B, and they're teaching against jazz and those genres of music that have historically been genres of music that have been very important to especially the black culture, but we don't really get to celebrate them anymore, because there have been artists who have come and who have sort of taken the wholesome, respectable energy away from what used to be art. Like, so going to a concert is not going to a concert anymore, because somebody's going to get strapped to a chair, and there's going to be some type of lap dance, and it's going to be about everything except about pure art and talent and singing. So I hope that if there are managers out there, or people who have any type of role or responsibility in managing some of the artists that we call legends when they come back, like, I hope that they invest in making sure that they come back with material that is worthy of not just this new generation, but also the generation of fans who grown to love them. So I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are, and if there are any, what if you've observed that there are a lot of older artists who've come back out, and they sort of like been repackaged to be something that they're not, and that has affected like sales and things like that. So let me know what you think. Check out my blog, www.iamdamo.com. All right.